Okay, so today's video we are going to show you how to make this particular layout using the Studio application. First steps is we're going to clear this layout. Now you can do that by clicking the red X down the bottom. It's called Clear Layout. This will clear any existing templates or frames you have already in Studio. So if we clear the layout, say yes. Now this has cleared everything, including the page size of our paper in our printer that we're printing to. So if you want to have that show up in the layout area to make sure you're setting up your template within the restrictions of the paper width, you can go to the media panel and in the width type in the dimensions of your paper. Now I am in inches mode as my measurement, so I will use a 24-inch roll. And don't have to enter in height because it is a roll, and it will automatically adjust accordingly in the layout area. Okay, so first frame that we want to set up, we will use the step and repeat function. Now this can be found in the frame menu, step and repeat, or it is also in the toolbar with the same icon, and if you hover over it, it will say step and repeat. So for the first instance, we'll use it from the menu, step and repeat. Our first frame will be 10 inches by 8 inches, and we want to horizontally repeat it twice and with 0 spacing in between. Okay, now we want to deselect the frames and do our second step and repeat. So clicking on the same button again, our second set of frames are 5 inches by 7 inches, and for this instance we only want to do one because what we're going to do is move it and position it on the page first, and then we'll be repeating it across. So if we say OK and just move it with the mouse, we want to position it exactly flush with the top frame. You can try this by hand. If you can't, what you'll need to do is select the frame, and in your box properties panel, which you can highlight or make appear by selecting this particular icon, the box properties icon. If you have your Studio settings set to make this floating, it will appear elsewhere on the screen as a floating box. So whatever your Studio settings are set to, this eye will make the box properties appear. Now I prefer to have it in the side and in a fixed position, which is down here on the bottom left hand side. Now with this frame selected, we want to make sure that the top is at 8 inches. Now I've done it by hand, but it can be fiddly, so what you do, because this top frame is 10 by 8, its bottom edge will be sitting at the 8-inch mark. So this one also has to have its top edge at the 8-inch mark, and to do that you go to the frame tab, the top field, and type in 8, and it will position the top edge of the frame at the 8-inch mark. Also make sure that the left is 0, so it will be flush against the left edge. Now with this frame selected, we want to do a step and repeat to repeat this particular frame 4 times horizontally across the page, also with 0 spacing. Okay, deselect those frames, and we'll do our final row by going to the step and repeat icon again. Our third set of frames will be 2 inches by 3 inches, and again we'll only do one because we want to position it first and then repeat it across the page. So say OK. Highlight the frame and drag it down and position it. Now if you can't do it with your eye, what you'll notice is these dotted outlines. They appear if there are ever any frames overlapping, so you can tell if you have done it by eye or not. You can also see the top field is filled with whatever the value is where this is sitting. Because we want it to be exactly at 15 inches down, we will type in 15, tab to the next field, and it will move automatically to the 15 mark. Highlight this again, step and repeat to repeat it at about 10 times across the page to be our final box. Now we have the basic layout of our frame setup. What we want to do is group them so that they all get the exact same content whenever we drop a file into it. So to do that, you can either click and drag your mouse to select all of the frames. You'll see them all highlighted because they will get a pink outline. Or you can do Studio Menu Frame and select all, and this will select all of the frames currently in the layout area. The next step while they're selected is to group them, which is done by the Frame Menu Group option, or it is also down in the toolbar with the same icon that matches the item in the menu. Now once they are grouped, you will see that if we just drop a frame in, they will get the same content. You will notice that the content doesn't fill each frame, so our next step will be to adjust it so that it does fill the frame, and that is done by accessing the box properties, content tab, scaling to fill. So now you can see it's adjusted to fill the entire frame. However, the top two have the incorrect orientation and need to be rotated. To do that while the group is selected, because you can tell the pink highlight is there, or click off, select it, we want to ungroup and select just these two top frames. You can either do that by holding down Control or Command on a Mac and clicking each individually, or you can highlight with the mouse by dragging across. Once both are selected, go to the Content tab of the box properties and change the orientation to 90 degrees clockwise. You can see they've now rotated and fill the frame. What we need to do now is select all of the frames again. So select all, or the edit frame menu, select all, and then we want to group the frames again. So all of the content will be the same when you drop a file in. Now we want to save as a new template, and we will call it Class Portraits, and OK. Now to clear this so we can make sure we've saved our template correctly, say OK, go Studio, load template, and we want Class Portraits is the one we've just saved, and OK. You can see it's got our layout there. Now this is the paper width. As you can see, it's showing I've still got a little bit of space. That's OK. Now if I drag and drop, you can see all of the frames are filled and everything looks as it should. You can send this off to print. OK, and select our page setup, media and job ticket. So for this one we'll use a Blackmagic image. We will call it student number 1 and submit. Now if I go to my job queue, I can see my job processing. You can see here it's rotating the top two. Now it will nest all of these together and then it will render the nest, and once it's rendered the nest I can have a look at the preview. And there you can see my job, and there's no gaps showing in between any of the frames, which is great. Now I can send that off to print if I'm happy. Going back to Studio, now there are two options if you need to drop in another picture using the same template. You can load the template again by Studio Load Template. You can select it in the list and say OK, or with the template already open, you can edit, revert template. This will remove any of the content that you've dropped into the frames, leaving the frames empty. And then you can select another, drop it in, send that to print, revert the template, drag and drop, send that to print, clear it again, and so on.